just be bored and you'll level up. This is something that I'm going to dive into from personal experience because I've actually been thinking about this quite a bit because recently and over like the last year, I'd say, or I wouldn't even say year to be honest, I'd probably say the last 8 months, right? I'm in a really weird state that every day I feel like I am swamped with work. And when I say that out loud, and you might think like that sounds like a bit of maybe a negative thing, or it doesn't sound too good, or it just sounds like it's too much, whatever. But actually, like, I really like it. I'm gonna tell you a story where like it wasn't always like this, and it really definitely wasn't. And even a couple of years ago, it was completely the opposite. So I remember, especially in the years where I went to school and stuff, and the summers I had and everything, and yeah, I'd meet up with my friends a lot in those summers, and it was vibey, it was nice, but that's not every day, all right? That wasn't every day. Actually, majority of the time, I was pretty bored. I was so bored, to be honest. Like, I remember there were times I would play on the PlayStation just because I had time to kill. Like I'd play because, not because I wanted to, it's just because like I have nothing else to do that I might as well like take up a new mission, story mode games, just so I can like feel like a sense of accomplishment. And it's only because I really didn't have much things going on for me and like I had so much time, I guess. And I really wasn't on like this journey of kind of improving myself and, you know, really like taking in accountability and stuff like that. Like that was nothing like that was even happening. And even like during university and stuff, like yeah, I'd have my course and like stuff like that, and I was less bored for sure because I just had like a lot of other things I filled my time up with. I had sports teams I was involved with, I had societies, I obviously had my degree, and then I'd hang out with my friends a lot on my weekends. So like it wasn't really boring during university, and even in lockdown during university it was not boring that as well, because most of the times me and my friends would just like do some stuff, and not necessarily productive, but just basically knew how to use our time. But then when I'd moved back home for the summer, right, or for the Christmas break, apart from like having to study, it became extremely boring as well. So this is what I just want to say, like actually I was so bored, but because I had no intention on where to allocate my time. And if I can go back and tell my younger self that, listen, you are actually sitting on a gold mine right now because you've got so much time, spare time. This is where you can double down and just hit every single weak point that you might have at that moment in time and just improve on that, because you're going to thank yourself later down the line when you're about 2, 3, 4, 5 years older, right? And that's that if I could, you know, go back in time and tell my younger self, then that would be definitely the main thing. One of the key things. It's just to utilize that time. And yeah, I don't actually have any regrets though. Like, I know I don't want to operate in a realm of regret, because if I'm operating in a realm of regret, then I'm thinking about constantly about, you know, things that maybe I should have done. And essentially I'm just going down a rabbit hole of not a nice feeling, and that can kind of spiral negatively on my productivity at this current moment in time. So that's why I don't want to, you know, operate in regret. But like, I'm just saying this, maybe if you're younger and you've got a lot of spare time, or you've just, you know, you don't even have to be young, you might just have a lot of spare time, then, you know, be happy that you're bored, because it means that you haven't found certain things where you can maybe double down on. Right, so how do you even do that? That's another question. Like, what do you have to do? Like, you know, I want to spend my time wisely, you could be asking, like, but how can you actually allocate? So before I jump into that, I'm going to tell you my current situation. Like, I was literally talking to my friend about this today, about like, because I just came back, I guess, from Canada and a trip there. Coming back to the UK, I spent 10 days there. So like, I'm a bit behind on the certain things. I'm behind on my gym. I'm behind on making videos, behind on my work. Like I'm behind on a lot of things. And I feel like I've got so much things to do, and a weekend is not enough. Like last weekend was not enough at all. I probably got like 20% of it done. This weekend, I've done a little bit more for sure, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna do some more more work, but like it's just not enough time. I feel like I have not enough time in the day. You know, I'm gonna have to like wake up really early tomorrow, and it's a Sunday. I might have to wake up at like 6 a.m. just so I can try and be productive, so I can tick all my to-do list. That's where I'm at right now. So it's a complete 180. It's so different to where I was a couple of years ago, where I had so much free time and I kind of wished I had stuff to do. I wish I had the missions. This is the thing, like I now treat life as like a game. I always say this, like gamify your life and stuff. You know, have these side quests, have these missions, because when you do, you kind of like it makes it enjoyable, and also it looks like you're you're working towards an objective. End of the day, you're working towards a big goal that you might have. So that's the thing, like, so identify a few goals first of all. So for me, like, it's growing this YouTube channel. I mean, I've got different pillars I like to say. So growing this YouTube channel, you know, going to gym and losing my belly fat and trying to be as lean as possible for the summer. So in about 6 weeks, I want to be able to do that. That's another aspect. Then it's also stuff like maybe dating as well. Like I barely even go on dates, so I need to start doing that a little bit more. So that's that. Also things like, you know, my current day job, or it could be a job for you, or it could be school for you, whatever. Like really trying to like excel in that and do really well. So there's so many things, right? I've identified where I can improve on and I can certainly do work with. And that's when you start making, once you've identified those goals, and that's when you start making small missions, right? You start making small missions. One of the things I've been doing recently is like really helpful is just I grab a post-it note pack and I just write things. So for example, at the moment I've got clean my room. My room is really not clean at the moment. I've got clothes everywhere. It's just not a really nice place to work at the moment. So that is one of the biggest things, and I'm going to do that first thing. I stick that on the wall. Then I've got edit 3 videos in advance because I'm going on holiday. Well, not holiday, I'm actually going to do work in an island in Spain, which I'll be vlogging as well. So before I go do that, I have to make sure that I get the videos done. So because I can't post and publish then, but I will still want to be consistent. Even for work, I'm behind, so I'm going to write like a specific task I need to complete for work, stick that on the wall. And I have like a bunch of post-it notes where I just have like things written down, like tasks. And once I've completed a task, I literally just peel it off, scrunch it up, and throw it in the bin. So it's like clear from the wall. And my aim here is to gamify it by just removing all the tasks as possible. And it's really fun doing that. I'm not gonna lie, it really is fun doing that. And I feel so productive. I also realized that I've very limited time to do those things, but it makes me like so mindful that I have to get things done, because sometimes, you know, I have it in my mind, or I have like a to-do list on my monitor or something, and I always forget because my monitor's not always turned on, or in my mind I'd always forget as well. So have it visually there and having the action, it's like a reward, peeling it off, scrunching it up and throwing it in the bin and seeing your wall slowly clear up. It's quite nice. So that's one thing I've definitely been doing, and it's been helpful. But if you're bored, this is the thing, like identify these things that's around you. You've definitely got things that you can be doing. There's always work to be done. And once you've done that, make yourself tasks which will improve on those things. Honestly, it's a matter of just like really being objective with yourself and looking at yourself in a daily sense and think, what can I do today that will improve myself? What will help me be a better person tomorrow, or like 6 months from now, or like a year from now? Because there are moments, you know, maybe when I'm, you know, maybe from a year's gone by and it goes by quite quickly. I think to myself, wow, this year's gone quick. Imagine if I just stuck working out consistently really well. I might be a different person, physique-wise. Or like imagine if I really tried at that certain sport, or like that subject, or at work or whatever, I might be in a different position. So I always have these thoughts, right? So if you want to prevent that from happening, you've got to be really present with today, and you've got to make sure these tasks are so clear and defined. That is why I like doing this method. I like using the post-it note method and putting it on my wall and peeling it off. So if you're bored, fill your wall up with tasks. You might start with like the most basic things, right? And don't be embarrassed and don't feel bad because it's so simple. But you got to start from level 1. Every game you have to start from scratch, right? if you're bored, and if I'm gonna tell my younger self this, right, when I was maybe about 18, 17, even 20 or whatever, when I had no job and I was literally at home, what can I do? Look around you. What can I do to improve on the certain things that are there at the moment? You know, maybe I haven't read in a while. Read 10 pages of a book this weekend. Stick that on the wall. It's as simple as that. Start small, because your challenges will get harder and harder as you progress through life and as you become really competent on the stuff you've done already. And that's when, that's when things become really tough. And by no means I'm in that position, but I'm certainly in a different position I am now than I was 2 years ago. And it's simply by just being productive and just getting things done. Good luck.